most of those men in those roles, earning those type of incomes, living that type of lifestyle that I was familiar with, were taken.
Guys, meet Ashley in Africa. She's an African-American YouTuber who currently resides in South Africa, but for some time she lived in Tanzania. And I know Ashley in Africa because she's been on our Kinganda YouTube channel. She gave us an interview. And one of the brothers sent me, Brother Marcus, a snippet of a video that she posted called Why I Left Tanzania. Now, Ashley in Africa is a very attractive young lady. She does have 2 children. And she was, it appears, thriving in Tanzania. But she had some issues in the lifestyle of like dating and relationships. Now, as you know, Tanzania is in East Africa, right next to Uganda on one portion of the country. But despite being an English-speaking country, it is more Swahili based. And I've been in Tanzania before, so it is much different than living like in Uganda or Kenya. So I want to play this clip as to why she left Tanzania, at least partly, and then we'll come back.
The women and the men that are seeing comparable incomes, if at all comparable, tend to work in very structured and specific industries, which is pretty much the government. And if you got a government job in Tanzania, you're balling, you're doing very well, and you were probably married right before you got your first check. So again, most of those men in those roles, earning those type of incomes, living that type of lifestyle that I was familiar with, were taken. And so that wasn't my thing. And if they weren't taken, they were probably, again, not trying to disappoint.
You see, guys, a lot of ladies want to do the passport sis thing, and I'm not saying that she's doing that. Obviously, she's doing very well. You know, sometimes she's live, I'll go and super chat her. You guys know I'm also very busy in the Pan-African community. So people like Ashley in Africa, channels like that, Brother Omar Wale Africa, those are the channels that I love even more than some of my content over here. Because I can express myself differently over in that community than I can here. But one of the things that she's not bringing out is that even if those guys are already married, there is a lot of competition with women in Africa. If you look at how many millionaires are in Chicago, right? Just for an example, type it in, how many millionaires in Chicago? You're probably going to get something like over 200,000 millionaires. Sometimes you might have 160,000 millionaires, something like that. But how many millionaires in Tanzania? Let's check it out. Well, there are maybe 2,400 individuals on paper that have that kind of money. So that is, I don't know, 7,000% less than what you see in the city of Chicago. So now as a single woman, even if you're Tanzanian or you're there, okay? Think about this. You're in that city and a guy and most guys who are affluent or rich are men. They have so many opportunities. And this is one thing I've noticed in the continent of Africa. A lot of single women, when they come over to Africa and look for a man, and I'm trying to say this without being disrespectful to anybody, right? But I see them usually in relationships with guys they're making more money than. So if they have a child or not, this is the guy that they're taking care of. Guy might be young. To them, he might be good looking. He might even be good in bed. But the lady is supporting the guy. And what that tells me is she probably doesn't have a whole lot of respect for a guy. And the guys that have money understand it. You know, again, you're somebody that's coming from a different culture. You have different standards. What you need from a man is much different than what you've been getting in the States. And, you know, and a guy might be enamored with the fact that you're from America, but if he's already married, what would that make you? It would make you, possibly, if he deals with you, a temporary or a permanent side chick. And if you're looking for somebody to marry you, it's probably going to be difficult because you don't know the culture. You would be a foreigner. And for what your needs and desires, what it may be in a Western mindset, because, you know, look, we're going to be real. I'm an American living in Uganda, but I don't live like somebody that's, I would say that grew up here. There are certain things that I need. Even for rich people, I might have certain desires that I need for my culture in America as an American that somebody who's rich here probably don't really look at it that way, don't need it. Like, I need fiber internet. That might not be necessary for somebody who's rich here. There's certain things I need, certain levels of computers I need. There's certain level of things I need to do that's not important for them, but it's important for me in my lifestyle. I drink espresso like hella times a day. That might not be something that's important. I have an American chef, right? I need to have my American style food every day. That's not important for a lot of folks. But you're dealing with a man who, he comes from this particular environment. He's used to doing certain things a certain way. He's used to a woman acting a certain way. And you're going to find out that, you know, the women are getting younger and younger and younger, and that it doesn't cost as much as it costs to maintain a woman from the States. And so when these women are coming over to these countries, it's not like the men. The men are coming over to, let's say, Brazil or the DR or certain parts of Africa, and you're coming in with resources, usually, or some level of resource that you can, you know, add and do your thing. Whereas with the ladies, they're coming over, but they're going to have that need to be provided for. And the best thing for a woman like her, you need to have an American man or a man that's from the States, even if he's a, you know, African brother, something like that, to be able to understand the culture. And you know, when you come there, you got somebody like that, because it is difficult. Like, imagine if you're in a small population like Gambia, it's almost Muslim, you're a Christian woman, and you want to date a rich guy. Let me tell you this, man. Like, I've seen some guys here on the continent. These guys are like gods, man. Rich guys are like gods in Africa, man. I'm telling you. Seriously, they have a lot of influence. They have a lot of power. I mean, they can just, the things you think that you could do in America, man, when you're rich in Africa, it's a different ball game, man. These guys out here are really getting after it. You know what I'm saying? They got, you know, all sorts of wealth when they're on top. They can do things that you can never do. I mean, you can get insane kinds of money. But that's what you can do when you're in the game like that. And so, you know, you have options of all kind of ladies. And these ladies also, and she's very beautiful, actually in Africa, I'm just using her as an example, but ladies like in Tanzania or in Uganda or in Kenya, I mean, in South Africa, these are extremely beautiful, extremely fine, a lot of diversity. Rwanda, oh my God, I was in Rwanda in November, man, I'm talking about super bad, bro. And I'm talking about like, and a guy knows that. A guy who's made it, he knows that. Like, why do I need to marry you or deal with you when, you know what I'm saying? Right here, I'm the man. Like, you know, add it up. And that's something that a lot of brothers don't really talk about publicly, but I've seen it. Guys know they're the truth when they're here. Same thing in Dominican Republic, Brazil. You got it made there, man. You're like a god. I'm not talking about a foreigner. I'm talking about a local guy who's rich, made it, and then he can't get done. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.